it then?
I think I am. I'm on the phone.
Oh, good. Gotcha.
Are we ready?
I see we're on YouTube, but it's not being recorded.
Gotta wait for Cindy to say go.
Okay, I'll call the meeting to order, our regular meeting for tonight. And I think we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There he is. Good, good.
Okay, Carol, could you read the mission statement, please?
The mission of the Orleans Niagara Board of Cooperative Educational Services is to be the premier provider of innovative and effective solutions for the evolving needs of our component districts and other learning collaboratives.
Thank you. Cindy, we don't have anybody public, do we?
Cindy, you had a question?
Okay. Cindy, we don't have anybody public, any public comment, no?
They would
There's no
leave
question.
comments on YouTube. If anybody had a comment or a
Okay.
question, they could leave it on YouTube.
Okay, well, I'll take a motion for the standing resolutions.
This is Tom. I move standing resolutions A through F.
This is Joanne. I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, that's passed. I will move on. Personnel, Janice?
Will we have an executive session?
No, not required tonight. We have nothing for executive session.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Career education, Keith, anything?
Mike?
It's the same stuff I had put into the overview of career and tech ed when I did my presentation. And other than that, I plan on meeting with my committee next month prior to the board meeting. I believe we're going live next month with our first board meeting at Octech, yes?
Yep.
Mhm.
So I'll have a committee meeting prior to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for CTE?
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay,
Any
Facility.
plans for completion ceremonies?
So yeah, we're working on completing our completion ceremonies in-house. We won't be housing them at the schools like we typically did prior to COVID, but we will be doing something more than just the video like we did last year. So we're in the planning process. Like I said, the planning of the month of June is the tasks, the schedules, and the details is what we are talking about on a weekly basis.
okay. Thank you. Facilities, Mr. Wadums.
Okay, I'm assuming everyone got their facilities update, and I would ask Dan Connolly if he's got anything he'd like to highlight in that report.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Well, as you heard Mike speak about animal science starting up down in Sanborn next year, that first item, we started in preparations, removed a wall, built a wall to make room, move a few people around. The daisy chain will begin. It'll be a busy summer down there, bringing animal science in. We took some time to clean up the hedgerow at East. It's one of those things people don't notice, but it really encroached out on the front lawn. Safety risk is a one-man show right now. Paul Nowaka, I want to give him a shout out. He's doing a tremendous job covering for the vacancy of Leon. He managed to fit some stop the bleed training in. Good news, Dr. Duncanson why we welcome him as our new electrician. And you have to go long and far to find somebody say anything bad about this guy. Everybody loves him. He's fitting in great. He's getting right to work. We really got fortunate with this guy. And on the bad side, we still have a cleaner vacancy open at the Niagara Center. And we found out last week that, and I think it's on the agenda, Leon Drabinski, the staff specialist at Safety Risk for the past 15 years or so, is going to retire here soon. So that's going to leave a big void in the Safety Risk department as we reshape it and move forward. What I don't have on the update, but I'll give you an update, is our sign situation in Niagara Falls. We had a local company take form out of Medina, do some renditions, try to see what works. It's a difficult situation. The building sits on 2 one-way streets. They came up with some nice designs. They sent it off to the city of Niagara Falls. I guess that would be code enforcement or signs. They got the city's input and everything changed. The city has strict regulations on signage, size of signage, and the amount per side of the building. So I reached out to a gentleman in the city of Niagara Falls, asked him that we really would rather skip a variance procedure here and just maybe we can work together and get something that works. So we didn't hear back from him. We would like to get a little more than what's allowed under the ordinance, but we'll see how that goes. And I think that's it for facilities.
Hey, thank you, Dan.
Thank you. PR, Public Relations, Jimmy?
I have some comments from Lisa. She sent in a report in terms of she's working on the budget newsletters for the districts in terms of getting ready for the public votes. And she's been active in filming for Skills USA competitions because they can't go on site because of COVID. They are doing their competitions. They are filming. And I came in the other day to the parking lot with all the police cars and they were working, the security classes were working on their felony stops. So real interesting stuff going on and she's busy out there doing that.
Have we heard anything about the state competition, Clay?
Is Mike Wyro here? Maybe he can address that.
That's what they're doing. They're actually processing that right now. That Clark wasn't talking about the local in-house competitions. We're recording all that stuff as the state competition. So they're not hosting it in person in Syracuse usually. So it's kind of like a in-house virtual video completion. They provide you with the guidance and the directions, and then technology had to step up as well because it calls for sometimes 2 to 3 different camera angles and coming down and seeing the hands, but also seeing the student. So it's like Clark said, it's pretty.
But Lisa can't edit it. It has to be all raw.
Wow, what a shame. Okay, legislation, Tom.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody knows, unless you've been living in a cave, that the state budget was adopted and signed by the governor. Quite a state budget, lots of money, lots of commitments for money, especially completing the funding. Well, I guess it would be fully funding foundation aid over the next 3 years. But the aid went up, the state aid went up almost $3 billion. Continue to be puzzled by the governor's proposal to essentially start this new services aid category. NISBA had a good write-up on it. That really would adversely affect shared services that the BOCES provides. I guess the reason I'm puzzled is because I would think that would be a something that the office would embrace, because shared services save money for components and provide services to be scaled in a highly efficient manner. So this has not been the first year that the governor has proposed this. He's proposed it before, and my guess is he will continue to propose the aids to all be lumped into like a single category. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Audit, Bob, you want to comment?
Yeah, tonight we had a meeting, audit committee meeting. We had the Bonadia Group come in, and they're independent auditors, and they gave us the results of their audit of our capital asset procedures and policies. And Melanie, I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit more on that.
Sure, yeah, so this was our internal audit. This was the requirement to fulfill that. And the Bonadio Group, the focus that the audit committee charged them with looking at this year was our fixed assets. And so basically keeping track of all of our assets, depreciating them appropriately. And they suggested some recommendations, looking at some policies, updating our thresholds. We implemented a new procedure internally that involves our accounts payable department. So when we do get a purchase order that involves equipment, we then alert our inventory clerk so they can go and tag the item and report that information back to the business office so it can go into our fixed asset system quickly and appropriately. So the report was reviewed and the action plan was reviewed in tonight's meeting, as well as our internal claims auditor exception reports for the period of January 1st to March 31st.
Thank you. Dr. Gottschall.
Yes, thank you. I have a number of items. I'll start with the Juneteenth discussion. Moving forward, New York State has chosen Juneteenth as a day to honor the ending of slavery. Next year, it'll be mandated going forward. We do have an option this year. A number of our components are choosing to close down in recognition. The Erie Voces is also closing down the RIC. So I'd like to ask the board to support that. We have a large number of brown and black students and staff that would like to honor the day. Hopefully people will reflect on the day. And it's something that we have an option to do. It's not mandated, but I'd like to do Friday, June 17th as a shutdown. And of course, as I said, it's mandated. And I think as we move closer to the date, you'll also see some other districts will decide to do the same. So with that, is there support, maybe even I guess I'd like a resolution on that. And then I can modify the calendar appropriately. Are there any
Okay.
questions about it? Detailed?
No.
No.
Well, how does that work then? If they have an extra day off, then do we have to make up that day, or we don't have to?
Not this year. We have adequate days that we can accomplish that.
Well, will it be down the road a problem though for schools, or no?
On next year's calendar, we had to take away a day, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and add Juneteenth, but it is a required.
Oh, okay. No, I just wondered as far as the aid goes for the schools. The students have to be there so many days.
No, they have to hit their 180 days and all the
Right.
district appropriate days.
Okay.
I think
Good
you
question.
pointed out also, Dr. Gottschall, that there were no snow days last year, so we can use that.
So, Mr. President, you want to do that now or do it later in terms of?
We can. I'll take a motion on that if you want.
This is Tom. I'll make a motion that, subject to implementation, that we direct the district superintendent to implement closure of the Orleans Niagara BOCES on June 17th for Juneteenth.
Keith, I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's passed. Thank you.
The date you're looking for is June 18th.
June 18th.
June 18th, correct.
Well, June 18th is a Saturday, isn't it?
Friday.
Oh, it's Friday. Okay, thank you. I got my calendars crisscrossed. A couple other things. We will be seeking staff input in terms of the new CDC standards. They are allowing some districts to go to 3 feet. The problem is we continue to be in a high-risk category, so we can't really move to that. And there is a requirement to receive input from our stakeholders. We'll be doing that as we go forward. But right now, we're seeing a spike, especially coming off a break. We're having increased cases that we're dealing with staff and.
Clerk?
Yes.
This is Tom Klatzbach. I noted that one of the component districts is stating that regardless of spacing now, students are going to have to wear masks at all times except for eating.
That's one of the requirements in terms of there's no more mask breaks. You have to be in the mask except when you're eating. So yeah, there's some new requirements. Now, some of the districts, you could go to 3 feet, go less than 6 feet if you had barriers. And a couple of districts did pursue that line in terms of that flexibility was built in. So there's a lot of hype in terms of, oh, we can do more now. It's especially in Western New York, we have to watch it because of I think we're at 4.9% rates. So we're still in the high category. So we're not going to immediately see any changes in terms of the BOCES. The Board of Regents meeting has spent a lot of time about equity and diversity. So I appreciate your action on Juneteenth. I think we're in line with the initiatives of the Board of Regents. We will be recognizing the health department directors, and we have a Niagara County on Friday with the superintendents. We're going to have them in for lunch and thank them. We meet weekly with those stakeholders, and one of Niagara Falls graduates, Lori Schoenfeld, who is the head of the nursing with the program, she's retiring, and she's been very helpful. And I know Mr. Van Vliet has a relationship with all of them in terms of seeking their input. So we'll be doing that on Friday. Got year-end planning in terms of proms and graduations. Again, a lot of hope for the districts, but all kinds of rules in terms of even some of the districts are going to say everybody has to have a vaccine card to come to the event. So right now, a lot of planning going on. But when they say 20% of 500, that's still 100 people that you can have. So there's still the building limits. Not much has changed in terms of that. April 8th, there was an article in the Lockport Sun and Journal. I had a call from a reporter. He's a new reporter. He had just gotten off his bicycle. I could tell he wasn't writing anything down as I spoke with him. But he was asking, in terms of the administrative budget, why are the fringe benefits higher than the salaries? And he was shocked by that. But for example, our teacher aides, they might make $15,000 a year in salary, but their health insurance for a family plan is $28,000. So yes, some of the benefits do exceed what people are paid. And with the administrative budget, we have to follow specific rules in terms of how things are coded in there. So he did an article about it. I was going to call him up and correct him on some of the items, but I think I'll just be more careful with this new reporter. That's when I go to press releases. In terms of summer school, haven't gotten the official word, but it appears that Niagara Falls will be pulling out of our academic summer school this summer. We were looking forward to go back over there, doing a lot of planning. So we're waiting to see. We are moving ahead with our planning for summer school. And we'll see in terms of how many students we have. With the relaxation of all the assessments, it'll be much smaller, and we'll be prepared for that. Our extended school year for our special needs students or students with special needs, we will be operating, but again, we're seeing some pullbacks on that. Not sure what exactly to attribute that to, but sometimes I do say it could be possibly some of the negative image that we incurred this year. You heard a lot about the state budget in terms of going forward. People are all happy about the funding, but they have to think about in 2 years, all that federal funding drops off. So if they go out and hire a bunch of staff in 2 years, you have to either find the money to continue to fund them. And the way they're pumped into the foundation aid. The BOCES, we had a proposal to increase the aid ability of our CTE student or staff, which currently since 1992 has been at 30,000. That would have really encouraged the districts to support CTE, and that didn't make it because again, all the money was driven to the foundation aid for the districts. And of course, on top of it, the governor was not allowed or didn't pull the trick where he took the federal funds and took away state funds. So all the federal funds are in addition to, but there's a lot of constraints that they have to do. They have to spend it on closing the gap of students. They have to spend it on after-school programs. You're going to see a lot of the elementary schools have boot camps and summer camps for ELA and math. So there's specific things they have to spend those monies on, including HVAC. And that's part of our capital program. We're going to continue the upgrades with our HVAC at our centers after we get the new architect. If you haven't visited our website, please check out our BOCES report card. Mrs. Conley worked on that with input from all the units. It really tells our story in terms of what we're doing. On the 29th, we'll be conducting interviews led by Mrs. Conley and Wayne Wadhams in terms of the 3 final architects. And hopefully we can come out with, and that's upon the facilities committee. If anybody has interested in participating, Mrs. Conley, we start at 11 and go to 3 and that. There's a couple of MOAs I ask you to support. One is with our Bethesda teachers in terms of there's some new requirements that special ed teachers have to have additional certifications if they teach in a secondary academic program. You can't just have a special ed teacher teaching math. They might have to go acquire the math certification. So the MOA is to pay, because we don't want to lose these good teachers, but we want them to get the certification. So we will be paying the $100 fee to acquire that. And also, if we have to, they might have to take some additional training in terms of Wayne, was it child abuse and child neglect and
school violence prevention, education of students with autism. And
so there's a cost to that. So we got the MOAs to reimburse for those folks. And there's might be some extra work. They might do coursework too. So I ask for your support on that. There's also a clerical MOA. We have a very good staff member that wishes to take some courses towards a teaching credential, and we like to support that. So those are the 2 MOAs, which are probably on the addenda or in the body of this. We had a power failure at Royhart a couple of weeks ago. The staff was fantastic. They continued to operate. We couldn't get the buses in to take people home. I went over on site, and the Blackboard system that Dr. Wyro spoke about, we had just received training, and thanks to Mrs. Hurt, she sat through the training. So I called back, and she was able to pull down all the parents and all the contacts of the students within about 20 minutes. She had sent out a voice, text, and email to every one of the parents, alerting them, and some of the parents were able to come in and get their kids. So that was the first application of that Blackboard system. Look forward to further development on that so we can improve our communications with the families. In terms of at the next meeting in May, I've invited Dr. Dale, longtime board member, to come back. The local veterinarian, he advocated along with Mr. Bond for a number of years that we should have an animal science program. And we worked hard to make sure that we could do that. We started down here, fantastic program. So we're going to have him come in before the board meeting at 6 o'clock and tour the site, and maybe we'll do a little recognition with him. So that'll be next month. In terms of retirees, we have, hate to say we're losing a couple of great people. Kathy Zagmeister, who's the bid coordinator. She put in for her retirement. I see Mike Platt, a longtime PT staff member, he's on the addenda. And Leon, the districts would fight over getting Leon assigned to their district to provide services. So kudos to them. I also want to say thanks to Roy Hart Central School District. We were able to do a 5-year lease with them, and that's on the agenda tonight. My last point, a number of years ago, we set up a room over at our center, our special needs center next door for a life skills room. We had a bed in there, made it look like an apartment. We got some good PR out of it, and the board really liked it. Well, our life skills classes have been redistributed. They're not over there anymore. So we like to move forward this summer on reconfiguring that space. A number of years ago, with Becky Albright, we made a commitment to that. Janice, you may remember, in terms of, we really don't need that space. We'd like to reconfigure it in terms of making it more of a vocational approach. That's the type of student that we have over there now. So unless I hear opposition, I'd like to move on that, but I just want the board informed that it's kind of a different direction than what we've been going on. End of report. I'll take any questions.
Dr. Gasha,
Yes.
is there another place where we'll be teaching life skills to our students? If you take
Sorry, I
this,
couldn't hear you, Mr. Kasemi.
are we making any other arrangements to teach the life skills that these children need if we close down that room?
We're not closing it down. We're just, those students have been redistributed, like Niagara Falls, we're renting classrooms over there for the life skills classrooms, and North Tonawanda. So they're just going a different direction. They're located in a different spot. They don't have to the travel was an issue all the way down to Orleans County to come down here. So we just don't have that many students here.
And I would also like to address that memorandum that you spoke about earlier. I'm wondering whether or not the superintendents are contacting our commissioners in New York State to explain to them the burden that this might be putting on the special ed teachers, that all of them to get accredited in each and every specific course, and the amount of work that's going to have to go into it, and how many teachers we may lose because of that, and has to go down to the middle school instead of staying up in the the senior high level. I think that's a real burden. I don't know who let that one slip through like that, because people already have permanent certification, and now to go on for that, it's not the $100. That doesn't bother me at all. I think that's well worth it. However, they're going to have to go back for class studies again, which is more time on their part, and they're still limited to one subject area now. And that, I think, is going to put a burden on all of our districts filling those positions.
I agree with you 100% in terms of we can't find teachers now in terms of staffing, and then to ask for a special ed certification and a math or science or ELA, that's an extra requirement, and the people might have to go and do additional coursework. So definitely a burden. They let us know it was coming, and that's why, thanks to Mr. Van Vliet's office, in terms of a lot of the people we were able to get through. But there are some people that we have to go back and make sure that a couple only needed to like watch the videos and apply for the cert, but there are some people that have to do coursework. So it's definitely a burden. I agree. And the districts are aware of it.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry to bring that up, but I think that's a major issue that we should all be looking at.
Thanks.
Okay, I have to point out in here about the New York State School Board's annual convention. So Cindy is still taking messages if any of you are interested in going to that.
Is that virtual then?
I believe it's in person in New York City.
Yes, New York.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not real thrilled about it, so I probably won't go. But okay, we'll move on to new business.
A change in the new business section.
I'm sorry.
I have one verbal change on page 9. Number 2, the co-op office supplies bid. Letter B should be withdrawn.
Letter B?
Yes.
Thank you.
Page 9, 2B is gone.
This is
Okay.
This is Tom Potsbach. I'll move in the blue section A.
This is Bob McDermott. I'll second it.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. That's passed.
This is Tom. I'll move B and C.
I'll second it. Carol.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Passed.
We need a roll call vote on C.
Tyson, stop it. Tyson.
Roll call vote on which one?
C. For the lease agreement.
Tyson, stop. Get down.
No?
Are you requesting one, Mr. Kasemi?
Is it normal that we do that for when you're doing an agreement? Or
No.
just, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You can
Okay.
request.
No, it's all right.
Okay,
I'll do as the board wishes.
okay, we'll move on.
This is Tom. I'll move D.
This is Bob. I'll second it.
Is there a cost to us for that? Ed,
Is there a what?
a cost to us for that, to hire them to come in and take that equipment?
I don't know. Dan, are you still here?
Mrs. Conley, can you speak to that?
The recycling, is there a charge?
Yes, there is.
There is? Okay.
Okay. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, that's passed.
This is Tom. I'll move E.
Colleen will second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's passed also.
This is Jim. I'm gonna move personnel A and B.
This is Tim. I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 It's
This is
passed.
Tom. I'll move C and D.
Colleen will second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's passed.
This is Tom. I'll move E, F, and G.
This is Bob. I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 It's passed.
Jim, I move H. Aye. Okay.
Colleen will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 It's passed.
Okay.
Okay, we're up to J.
This is, I thought Jay was in the last one. If it's not, Cindy, was it H, I, and J, the last motion?
Oh, I missed it. I'm sorry.
Yes.
My fault.
Okay, this is Tom. I'll move K and L.
This is Joanne. I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 That's passed.
And this is Tom. I'll move M.
This is
This
Bob. I'll
is Carol.
second it.
I'll second it.
Are you good, Cindy? Okay. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 That's passed. Okay,
And then this is Tom. I'll move N.
This is Joanne. I'll second it.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's passed. Now we have the addendum.
Yeah, I'll just walk through that in case, because you just received that. One's a resignation that I spoke about.
Mhm.
Michael Platt, PT, could do a retirement. We have an appointment of a keyboard specialist and a volunteer. We like to appoint the volunteers as students. We have a retiree returning as a substitute, Judy Gawan, great teacher. And I and J, we have the 2 MOAs that I spoke about earlier.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
This is Tom. I will move in personnel. I will move A. I'll move A.
Colleen, a second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This is Tom. I'll move D, E, and H.
Carol will second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's passed.
And this is Tom. I'll move I and J.
This is Tim, I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
I.
Aye.
Aye.
It's passed. I guess we're all set. Moving on. Board members. Keith? Any comments?
Things going well in Roy Harder. Superintendent is actually taking some screen time away from Niagara Falls.
Sorry.
But yeah,
I'm sorry, Mr. Bond.
but things are going as well as can be expected.
Okay. Thank you. Jimmy, you're next. You can reply to that.
Oh, sometimes it's best to be quiet. We're moving along. I'm not happy to say that our district is moving in some different directions that I'm not very happy with. I have to ask the superintendent about it. I know the Dr. Gottschall, so I know that I thank him for taking that call and talking to him about it. We're moving. Maybe a little too quickly for me, but we are still looking to take over all of a program, a pre-K program for the whole county. And what can I say? Interesting year.
Okay. I don't see Tony. Janice?
I have nothing new. From Starpoint, I haven't heard or gone to a meeting, hopefully, maybe next time. I have to make the comment that I'm sure it's great for the kids that they're back to playing sports again. And that I'm sure morale is increasing at school with that kind of adjustment.
It's great. Carol?
Nothing new. We're doing about the same as everybody else.
Okay. Tom?
All set?
You say Bob? Yeah.
Tom.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
We feel we're pretty much on par with everybody else. We're working on our budget, trying to get that squared away. And working towards hopefully some kind of end of the year, years, which everybody would be pretty happy with. So, considering all the regulations we have to go through.
Thank you. Tom, did you have anything?
No, I'm all set.
Okay. Tim?
I just had a question, and I think a lot of the other districts are going back to live meetings. I know myself, I like Zoom, but it's not my favorite friend tonight. So I prefer a live meeting.
Next month.
May.
We already started this month, yeah.
Colleen? Colleen?
Sorry, I was having trouble coming off mute.
Oh.
I don't have any updates at this time.
Okay. We kind of enjoyed your camera, how flashy you were. That was cool. I don't
I
think
sort of
Wendy. Go ahead. I don't think Wendy's in her back yet. Wayne?
Okay, Albion, this week we're returning, our students were in attendance 2 days a week. This week we started bringing our students back 4 days a week. They'll still be off. Everyone will be remote on Wednesday, but we're slowly bringing the kids back. So I believe by next week, we'll have everyone back 4 days a week, which we're happy about. We adopted our budget on Monday. Our tax levy remains level. We appointed a new business official. We're in the process of looking for an assistant superintendent of instruction. And things are moving in the right direction in Albion. I'm real happy with where we're at, and where we're going.
Great. Joanne?
I have a comment. I think this program guide that Lisa put together is really phenomenal. She did an excellent job. We're very fortunate to have her represent us like this. That's it.
Okay. I want to thank Medina for recommending me again for nomination. I guess that voting is coming up later this month, but thank you. I completed Dr. Godshall's evaluation, and Cindy helped me out with it. I want to thank the people who sent me stuff to put in that letter that goes out to Commissioner Rosa. So Cindy's finishing that up for me, and I'll probably stop in tomorrow to sign it. I'm getting better. So thanks for all the people who say things to me. I'm going to be there with the architects on the 29th. And I also want to thank Lisa. Things are constantly popping up on Facebook. It's great for her public relations. I think she does an excellent job also. And I want to thank all of our staff and teachers for the great job they've been doing, especially with the way it's been for the last year. I think they're doing a phenomenal job, the students that we do have, both in person and remote. So I want to thank them also. So with that,
Ed,
any other comments? Yes.
Ed, with that, I just want to please acknowledge the beautiful job on the program guide and our report card and our annual meeting booklets that were put out. I mean, they're very professional, they're cut, they're informative. It's not just a waste of paper. And whoever, I mean, and many of these that worked on it, and the description on the programs, I just wish we could now get people read it. I don't know how we can do that, but
when we go out to the component districts, we do take that. That's Mrs. Conley and her team, and Dr. Barsis and Dr. Wyro, in terms of it's a team effort.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to these gentlemen both. It's a work of art, and not only a work of art, it's very informative. Puts BOCES, in my opinion, in the light it deserves. Thank you.
Definitely. Okay, no executive session, so.
Everybody to go outside for coffee? For coffee. What are you laughing at?
So I'll take an appropriate motion.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
And I will second it, Joanne.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That's passed. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Next month is in